2/3 of Americans claim Social Security before their full retirement age. 2 out of 3. The financial media treats this like a collective failure of planning, like millions of people are making the same mistake over and over again because they just don't understand how the math works. But here's what nobody in finance wants to admit. Sometimes filing at 62 isn't a mistake at all. Sometimes it's the smartest thing you can do. The conventional wisdom is simple. Wait as long as possible. Delay until 70. Every year you wait past your full retirement age, your benefit grows by 8%. At 70, you're collecting 124% of what you would have received at 67. That sounds like a no-brainer, right? Why would anyone leave money on the table? But the conventional wisdom assumes something profound about your life. It assumes you'll live long enough to reach the break-even point. It assumes you don't need the money now. It assumes your spouse doesn't depend on your filing to unlock their own benefits. It assumes your health is stable. It assumes you have no other income coming. It assumes the timing doesn't matter. For some people, those assumptions hold. For others, they're completely wrong. I'm going to give you 7 legitimate reasons why filing for Social Security at 62 might actually be the right move for your situation. These aren't excuses. They're not rationalizations for impatience. They're real strategic considerations that financial advisors use when building retirement plans for clients. And by the end, you'll understand why this decision isn't about what's universally best. It's about what's best for you. Before we get into the reasons, let's establish what we're actually talking about. For anyone born in 1960 or later, the full retirement age is 67. That's the age when you receive 100% of your primary insurance amount, or PIA, which is calculated based on your highest 35 years of earnings. If you file at 62, you're claiming 5 years early, and your benefit is permanently reduced by about 30%. That's a significant cut. If your full retirement benefit would be $4,000 a month, claiming at 62 drops it to roughly $2,800. Not a small difference. But here's where it gets interesting. If you wait until 70, you get delayed retirement credits that boost your monthly payment to 124% of your full benefit. That $4,000 benefit becomes almost $5,200 a month. The spread between claiming at 62 and claiming at 70 can be substantial. Over $2,200 monthly at the maximum benefit level. The question everyone asks is, when do I break even? When does the person who waited actually come out ahead of the person who claimed early and collected smaller checks for longer? The break-even math shows that if you compare claiming at 62 versus 67, you break even around age 78. If you compare 62 versus 70, the break-even point is around age 80 to 81. And comparing 67 to 70, you're looking at approximately age 82. Here's what those numbers mean. If you claim at 62 and live past 80, you would have received more total money by waiting. But if you claim at 62 and pass away at 76, you come out ahead by tens of thousands of dollars. The Social Security Administration designed the system so that people who live to average life expectancy receive roughly the same total benefits, regardless of when they claimed. Monthly payment levels are calibrated so that early claimers and late claimers theoretically collect the same lifetime amount if they die at the expected age. The difference is just how those dollars are distributed over time. Now, let's get into the 7 reasons why claiming early might make sense. Reason 1. Filing unlocks dependent and spousal benefits. This is one of the most overlooked strategic considerations, and it catches a lot of people off guard. Your spouse cannot collect spousal benefits until you file for your own retirement benefits. If your spouse didn't work long enough to qualify for their own benefit, or if their benefit is significantly lower than half of yours, they're depending on you to file first. Spousal benefits can provide up to 50% of your full retirement age benefit. For some households, that's substantial additional income. If you're married and your spouse is ready to collect, your delay directly reduces your household income every single month you wait. The individual benefit optimization that would tell you to wait might actually hurt your family's total financial picture. Reason 2, you're single, and your health suggests you won't live past your mid-70s. I understand this isn't a comfortable topic. Nobody wants to sit down and assess their own mortality. But pretending you'll definitely live to 90 when your family history and current health conditions suggest otherwise isn't optimism. It's poor planning. If you have chronic health conditions, a family history of early mortality, or other factors that suggest a shorter timeline, the math shifts dramatically. If you're comparing claiming at 62 versus 70, and you don't expect to live past 78, you'll receive more total dollars by claiming early. Social Security is supposed to be insurance for your retirement. If your retirement will likely be shorter, the insurance should pay out sooner. Reason 3, your spouse has a shorter life expectancy, and you'll ultimately receive a larger survivor benefit. This is a sophisticated strategy that doesn't get discussed enough. When one spouse dies, the surviving spouse can switch to the deceased spouse's benefit if it's higher. It's called a survivor benefit, and it's based on what the deceased spouse was receiving at death. Here's how the strategy works. Let's say you have health conditions, but your spouse has a higher lifetime earning record and is expected to live longer. You file for your own benefits at 62, collecting those payments while you're both alive. When you pass away, your spouse switches to their own benefit, which should be larger than your survivor benefit would have been anyway. It's higher. Reason 4, you're ready to retire, you've stopped working, and you have a sizable nest egg. This one surprises people because it seems counterintuitive. Why would someone with substantial assets claim Social Security early? Shouldn't they be the ones who can afford to wait? The logic works like this. When you have significant retirement assets, those assets are invested and presumably growing. Meanwhile, if you're not working and you're living on those assets, every dollar you withdraw to cover expenses is a dollar that's no longer compounding for the future. If you claim Social Security early and use those payments to cover some of your living expenses, you can withdraw less from your portfolio. In some scenarios, the additional growth on your portfolio over 8 years exceeds the benefit you'd gain from waiting on Social Security. This strategy also reduces what financial planners call sequence of returns risk. If the market drops significantly early in your retirement, while you're withdrawing heavily from your portfolio, the damage can be permanent. Having Social Security income as a baseline reduces how much you need to pull from investments during volatile periods. It's not right for everyone. The math depends on your portfolio size, expected returns, expected longevity, and tax situation. But for some people with substantial assets who have truly stopped working, claiming early and letting their investments ride is actually the better financial outcome. Reason 5, you're not working. You don't urgently need the income, but you're an experienced investor who wants to put those payments to work. This is related to reason 4, but slightly different. Some people claim early specifically because they want to invest the Social Security payments themselves. The logic is straightforward. If you claim at 62 instead of 70, you receive 8 additional years of payments. Yes, each payment is smaller, but you can invest those payments into the market. If your returns exceed approximately 7 to 8% annually, and you live long enough, the invested early payments can outperform the larger delayed payments. This is a more aggressive strategy, and it carries risk. Markets don't return 8% every year. Some years, they lose 20%. If you invest your early Social Security payments and the market tanks, you've made a bad trade. You gave up guaranteed larger payments for speculative returns that didn't materialize. But for experienced investors who understand the risks, who have a solid investment track record, and who don't need the Social Security income for day-to-day expenses anyway, this can be a legitimate approach. You're essentially betting that you can generate better returns than the guaranteed 8% per year that waiting would provide. For some people, that's a bet worth making. Reason 6. You have a future source of guaranteed lifetime income coming, like a pension or deferred income annuity, that in a few years, you'll have another reliable income stream that covers your expenses. You can think about Social Security differently. Let's say you're 62. You've stopped working, but you have a pension that kicks in at 65. Or you purchased a deferred income annuity years ago that starts paying at 67. In either case, your later years already have a stable income floor. You don't need to maximize Social Security to create that floor because you've already built it. In this scenario, claiming Social Security early gives you income for the gap years. The money you collect from 62 to 65 or 67 bridges you until your other guaranteed income begins. Once that pension or annuity starts, your combined income exceeds what you need, and Social Security becomes supplemental rather than foundational. The key question is whether you have enough saved to bridge the gap yourself. If you can easily cover 3 to 5 years of expenses from savings while waiting, maybe waiting still makes sense. But if claiming early smooths your income trajectory without requiring significant drawdowns, it can be a solid strategy. Reason 7. You simply can't work past 62, and you need the money. Sometimes life doesn't follow the plan. Sometimes you intended to work until 65 or 67, but your body had other ideas. Maybe you spent decades in physically demanding work, construction, manufacturing, nursing, manual labor. By 62, your knees are shot, or your back won't cooperate, or you're dealing with chronic pain that makes continuing impossible. Maybe it's not physical. Maybe you were laid off, and despite months of searching, no one will hire someone your age for the salary you need. Age discrimination and hiring is illegal, but extremely difficult to prove. And the practical reality is that many workers in their early 60s struggle to find comparable employment after job loss. Whatever the reason, if you can't work and you don't have enough saved to cover your expenses while you wait, Social Security is there for exactly this purpose. It's supposed to be a safety net. Using it when you genuinely need it isn't failure. It's the system working as intended. The key is to make sure you've explored all options first. Can you do different work from home? Can you transition to something less physically demanding? Can you draw from savings for a year or two while continuing to look for options? If you've genuinely exhausted the alternatives, then claiming early is the right move. Don't let perfect be the enemy of good. Don't let financial shame prevent you from using a benefit you've paid into for decades. Now, let me tell you the situations where you should absolutely not file at 62. If you're still working with substantial earned income, filing early is usually a mistake. The Social Security earnings limit in 2026 is $24,480. If you earn more than that while collecting benefits before full retirement age, Social Security withholds $1 for every $2 you earn above the limit. You're taking a permanent 30% reduction in your benefit and then having payments withheld anyway because you're earning too much. It creates chaos, reduces your benefit permanently, and makes no financial sense if Social Security will be your primary or only income source in retirement. You should strongly consider waiting as long as possible. When Social Security is your main income, every dollar of monthly benefit matters enormously. The difference between $2,800 and $4,100 a month is the difference between making ends meet and struggling. Work as long as you can. Delay as long as you can. That extra income is worth more to you than to someone with multiple income. If you have longevity in your family and you're in good health, the math favors waiting. If your parents lived into their 90s, if you exercise regularly, if you don't have significant chronic conditions, you're statistically likely to live past the break-even point. Waiting means more money over your lifetime. And here's something else to consider. There are over 700 strategy complexity beyond break-even different Social Security filing strategies when you account for spousal benefits, survivor benefits, divorced spouse benefits, and various timing combinations. The basic break-even analysis that compares claiming at 62 versus 70 is just the starting point. Your personal situation likely involves considerations that generic advice doesn't capture. The Social Security Administration actually removed the break-even calculator from their website years ago because too many people were making poor decisions based on it. They recognized that a simple formula couldn't capture the complexity of real financial lives. So what should you actually do? First, understand your numbers. Check your benefit estimates. Log into your Social Security account and look at your benefit estimates at 62, 67, and 70. Know the actual dollar amounts your working assess health realistically with. Second, assess your health realistically. This doesn't mean being pessimistic. It means being honest. Look at your family history. Look at your current conditions. Talk to your doctor about life expectancy. Use that information in your planning. Third, consider your household, not just optimize for total household benefit yourself. If you're married, optimize for total household benefit, not individual benefit. Sometimes the higher earner should delay, while the lower earner claims early. Sometimes the opposite is true. It depends on ages, earnings histories, and health expectations for both spouses. Fourth, map other retirement income sources. Think about your other income sources. What will your retirement income look like? Do you have a pension? Do you have significant retirement savings? Is Social Security a complement to other income or the foundation of it? Your answer shapes the right filing strategy. Fifth, if the decision feels overwhelming, consider working with a fee-only planner who can run detailed analyses on your specific situation. A few hundred for professional advice can be worth tens of thousands in lifetime benefits if it leads you to the right decision. The average retirement age in America is 62, not 67, not 70, 62. Two-thirds of people claim before full retirement age. Some of those people are making mistakes, but many of them are making the right choice for their circumstances. Social Security is personal. The decision to claim is personal. Don't let anyone make you feel foolish for considering early filing. And don't let anyone pressure you into waiting when it doesn't fit your life. The best financial decisions aren't the ones that look good on a spreadsheet. They're the ones that account for who you actually are, how long you'll actually live, and what you actually need. This isn't financial advice. Consult with a professional who understands your specific situation. But whatever you decide, decide with information, not fear. And know that sometimes claiming at 62 isn't giving up.